Hello, this is Daniel Mart back again. I'm an actor and filmmaker based out of South Florida. And for this video, I'm going to be doing something that I haven't done since 2017 on my old YouTube channel. And that is do a movie review. So yeah, I checked on my channel literally right before I filmed this video. And the last movie review I ever did was way back on February 18th of 2017. And it was for Almost Dead. Pretty sure it was an Italian movie that I saw at MISIFI, Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival, back when I was on their board. So yeah, that's the last time I ever reviewed a movie here for YouTube. And now, after 8 years, I'm going to be doing it again. And this time, it's going to be for Snow White. Yes, the Blu-ray. This is the actual Blu-ray to live action Snow White with Rachel Zegler. So, why am I doing this? And why am I just continuing to just shoot my credibility, I guess, as a film lover when it comes to Rachel Zegler? I don't know. I guess I just like it. I guess I'm just a bit of a sadist. And also, I like defending Rachel Zegler. I'm sorry. I still think that the hate she gets is completely ridiculous. Not gonna lie. I was always flirting with the idea. I was always flirting with the idea of doing this review. Back when the movie first came out, I was gonna go watch it in theaters. Yes, I was actually gonna go watch it in theaters, but then, for those who don't know or haven't been keeping up with my channel, that was also around the same time that my dad got cancer. So, for obvious reasons, some things got put on the back burner. But then I picked this up about a month and a half ago, I guess at this point now, and I finally saw it. So, what are my thoughts on Snow White, the new live-action Snow White? And it's not as good as the original. I'm gonna point out some of the obvious things. It is not as good as the original. I think that's very obvious. The original it's a classic for a reason. It's the first live action. It's the first animated Disney feature ever. I'm pretty sure it's the first animated feature film ever, with the exception of like something like The Tales of Prince Ahmed. I want to say it's probably a little bit right before it as well, but even then that's a different animation style, where that's kind of like paper animation, similar to how early South Park was, versus actual hand-drawn animation. So yeah, so I'm gonna be honest with you, it is not as good as the original Snow White. I think even in my wildest dreams, I could have probably told you that right off the bat. I will admit, however, there are some stuff that I do genuinely like about this version of Snow White. Shocker. Surprise, surprise. Now, first off, just to get it out of the way, Rachel Zegler, I think she did a fantastic job in the role. Of course, she's a great singer. We knew that from West Side Story, so we've already known that. And I actually thought that she gave a lot to the role of Snow White. Now, you can say whatever you want about her being cast as Snow White, that, her being Hispanic or Latin doesn't make sense because, Snow White is Snow White. I've gone through those discussions in my 2 previous defending Rachel Zegler videos. I'm not here for it. I don't really care. I'm just watching for what it is at this point. You know what I mean? So I actually do very much enjoy her as Snow White. And not gonna lie, I kind of do like her little romance with Jonathan, the robber that she encounters halfway through the movie. I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of enjoy their chemistry. I thought they were cute together. I thought they were good. I'm not gonna lie. Although I don't know the actor, but although I think he did a good job in the role, I also do think that his role was very much a whatever role. It was kind of an afterthought. And the reason he was an afterthought, if you've been following the production of Snow White, is because originally the 7 dwarves seemingly were going to be these 7 robbers, where they weren't really dwarves and all this. I'll get to that in the negative aspects of this review, but so you do have that. I do think there's some very creative camera work in this movie, especially when she goes down after the hunter kills her, tries to kill her, or whatever. When she runs into the forest, I did like the camera work in that scene. I thought it was very creative and very spooky, and I felt like it really did emulate, so to speak, the animated version. I do wish it was just a bit longer. I felt that aspect or that scene was a little bit too short. It felt like it was over in about 30 seconds, and I'm like, no, I wanted a bit more. I really like the camera work in the scene. I really like the cinematography. I thought it was really cool the way it was done. I'm pretty sure the animated version is probably like around the same length, about 30 minutes to maybe a minute, like 30 to 60 seconds. But for in the animated version, it's so much more impactful, in my opinion. Whereas this, it's like, it just feels like it comes and goes, and I'm like, no, I kind of like that. I mean, I will say this, the camera work throughout this movie, Mark Webb, I believe is the director, I thought it was just incredible throughout the whole movie, where you see the big landscapes, where you see like the castle and all that. I think like the actual camera work, cinematography of this movie is actually really well done. And honestly, that's really about it. Past that, Rachel Zegler's performance, the guy who portrays Jonathan, I thought he gave a decent performance. I think most everyone kind of gave a decent performance for the most part. We all know who's the negative here. And, you know, the singing is actually pretty good from Rachel Zegler. It's pretty good. Other people, we'll get to that later, you know. And, again, the camera work is really good. The writing is whatever. It's like, look, I didn't expect this to be, like, fantastic, like Shakespeare or Aaron Sorkin. I don't expect this to be nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars. I'll be honest with you. But, you know, it's one of those things that's, it's alright. It's serviceable. It's whatever, you know. And that's really all it is. That's kind of what I expected. And if I'm being completely honest, this movie is exactly what I expected in the most neutral way possible. The things I expected to like, I liked. The things I expected not to like, I didn't like. Speaking of which, what I didn't like, yeah, I'm sorry, Gal Gadot, what the hell was that performance? Genuinely, what the hell was that performance? It genuinely seemed like she was in a completely different movie. And this is some personal thing, I'll be honest with you, but she kind of reminded me of this person I know in real life. You know how people sometimes discuss, like, oh, who's your celebrity twin type of thing? Gal Gadot kind of reminds me of this person I know in real life, and I'm not gonna lie, the person I know in real life, I kind of don't like, so I kind of, in a weird way, I kind of associated the two, like, oh my gosh, I did not realize how much this person, who I know in real life, looks like Gal Gadot, and in a weird way, I'm like, I kind of just don't, because of that, I kind of just don't like this performance even more, because I'm low-key associating you with this person I know in real life. Probably not something I should do, I'll be completely honest with you with that, but if I'm being honest, that's also what I was thinking throughout the whole movie. But that aside, still, what was that performance? It's just like, it really seemed like she was in her own other movie, to be honest with you, and this is a discussion that's been brought up a few times with other Disney adaptations here, but like, it was campy in a way that just didn't fit the movie. I feel like I feel like I could see the thought process behind her going in this really big, grandiose acting level, so to speak, but it just did not work with the movie at all. And to be honest with you, it's not really something that really works with the Evil Queen. At most, it works when she's like making the potion, and you could go big there, but like throughout the whole thing, even if you look at the animated version, she's very stoic. Yes, she has her moments of when she gets loud, when she gets angry, but that's the key word there. It's moments, not the whole thing. You know what I mean? So I really don't know what's going on. And her song that she had here, I'm like, it just sounded bad. I'm not sure, or I don't know if she's ever been known to sing before in any other movie, but like this was just bad as well. I'll be honest, the whole thing with her it was just bad. Like I'm sorry, like the most integral part of the movie when it comes to the relationship between Snow White and the Evil Queen, it was just bad. And a part of it, the huge chunk of it has to do with the fact that Gal Gadot was just, I'm not sure if it was just incredibly miscast. I don't know if it was just bad direction, bad acting, I don't know, or maybe bad writing to a certain degree as well, but like, it was just bad. It really brought down the movie, in my opinion, and it's one of those things, every time we cut back to her, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, we're back to her. Why? You know? It is what it is. The other negative aspect of this, and I didn't think about this at first, I'll be honest with you, and then the movie progressed, I'm like, oh, wait, this is really not meshing well, and that's the actual dwarves. When the dwarves are there alone, I'm like, you know what, yeah, they look cool in their environment, you know, hi-ho, 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 whatever the song is, right? You know, they look cool in their environment, they look realistic, they look like they belong, until they interact with Rachel Zegler, and I'm like, ugh, that is like uncanny valley type of thing, that doesn't work. The whole little storyline with Dopey, I thought was cute, but like, not needed, you know, with him like not being able to talk until he is able to talk. I will admit now, I do forget if I think he talks right before Snow White gets poisoned, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and I believe he's technically the narrator of the whole movie. I think by technicality, I think he's the narrator of the movie, so take that for what you will. But like, I thought their storyline was cute, not needed but cute, but like, it's one of those things like, it just seems so uncanny valley, and it's one of those things that, I remember there's the whole Peter Dinklage drama of it all, where, like, why didn't you guys hire actual little people actors, or yeah, and I'm like, or I forget the specifics of that drama, I forget if it was like, oh, why didn't you, or you shouldn't be doing this. I'm pretty sure it was like, you shouldn't hire little people actors, because I remember he got a lot of flack from other little people actors, in that regard. But it's one of those things like, look, I don't know what the actual storyline was, if it was originally supposed to be these robbers, this group of robbers, who were originally supposed to be the dwarves, and then they got so much backlash from that they actually made the dwarves, then Peter Dinklage put into his 2 cents, and this, that, and the other, but I genuinely think that they should have just gotten, like, actual little people actors and just kind of go from there, whether that be someone like Peter Dinklage, Warwick Davis, Nat Jeffers, is that his name? He was in, not World Beyond, he was in The Ones Who Live. He was the one who lives. I think his character was called Nat. I forget his actual name, but I think it was like something Jeffers. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I know every single Little People actor, but I'm pretty sure they could have cast 7 Little People actors and just kind of go from there. Like I think that would have been a lot more effective and a lot more realistic. I mean, and not just from a literal sense and from CGI to humans, but I think it would have helped to really connect some of those storylines. Honestly, look, that is the one thing. It just seemed kind of weird. And I'll be completely honest, it's not as bad as I thought this would be. Granted, it's not going to compete with the original. I think that at a base level, we should all know this by now. But I think at a base level, it's not going to be as good as the original. That being said, I don't think it's the complete disaster that most people are making it out to be. Again, because, we hate Rachel Zegler for X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, it's not really that big of a disaster. And really, the biggest disaster parts about this movie are Gal Gadot and the misuse of CGI when it comes to the 7 dwarves and the storyline that kind of revolves around them, and the possible replacement with thieves and all that, this, that, and the other. I actually like the ending. I know a lot of people kind of dunked on the ending because, like, oh, she knew the guards' names and that's what makes them go against the queen and this, that, and whatever. I'm like, honestly, I didn't mind that. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit dumb, but, like, I don't mind it. If I'm being completely honest, I'm like, it's whatever. It's like, it's not the worst ending. I'll be honest, it's not the best ending, but it's not the worst ending either. I thought it was alright. Like, I genuinely think this movie is getting so much unnecessary hate because of the fact of the whole anti-Rachel Zegler contingent that we have right now, which I think maybe this is just me looking online, but I think it's slightly starting to turn around because she's doing that play Evita, the musical of Evita. I think she's on tour right now, and I think people are starting to, like, maybe, again, this is maybe just me looking on the bias side of the pro Rachel Zegler people, but, like, it seems like people are starting to turn around on her. I don't know, so take that for what you will, but honestly, I thought it was actually a really decent movie. It's decently average. That's the thing. It's such an average movie that, like, look, are there better live-action Disney adaptations? Yes. I'll be honest. I actually prefer Beauty and the Beast than this. Like, and I know a lot of people don't like Beauty and the Beast, but honestly, I think the Beauty and the Beast one, live-action Cinderella, is honestly, like, I think live-action Cinderella is probably the best one out of the bunch. But here's the thing with it. There's also worse live-action adaptations of other Disney properties. I think the ones who take the cake by far are Mulan and The Lion King. I mean, like, I don't understand how you're putting this on the same scale as Mulan and The Lion King, where those 2 movies completely obliterated the message of their respective films. And this one it tries to build upon it. Not perfectly, but it does try to build upon it. But, like, the other 2 movies just completely obliterate the message of their respective films. So, like, to say that this is just as bad or even worse than those 2 movies, I'm completely lost. If you don't like it, that's one thing. But if you're gonna say it's even worse than Lion King and Mulan, I don't get it. Like, I seriously don't get it, to be honest with you. But that's just me. And I will be honest, I am usually a bit more forgiving towards the live-action remakes, because I think, like, it is what it is, But yeah, that's basically it. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and 6 being decent, I'll put it right there. 6 out of 10. It's a perfectly fine, decent film. Pop it in every once in a while, and that's it. Maybe have a double feature where you have the animated first, and then the live action, but that's really about it. I mean, really, people are just overreacting to nothing. That whole bomb, IMDb, like, hate bomb that it brought down the score to, like, even less than one star or whatever that drama was, like, that's ridiculous. Like, and like, realistically, this should probably be around a 4 or 5, because I know even with all the hate, this should realistically be somewhere between a 4 and a 5 on IMDb. Probably around a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, maybe a C on Metacritic, I don't know, but, like, the hate for this really just comes down to people not liking Rachel Zegler. I think we all know this by now, and also, on top of it being a live-action remake of a Disney property, which, again, people are very defensive about, for obvious reasons, Mulan, Lion King. So, yeah, I mean, 6 out of 10. It's a decent film. Yeah, everybody's just overreacting to nothing. It is what it is. So yeah, that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart, signing off.